Thank you. It's really an honor to be here representing RISE and the RISE community today. And it's especially fitting because it's almost exactly 13 months ago to the day that RISE was launched, just prior to last year's EU summit in Barcelona. So it's been a busy year for us. We've had a lot of accomplishments, a lot of activities, and I'm going to share some of those with you today in the brief time that we've got, as well as some of our plans going forward. But before I do that, I want to talk a little bit about our mission and where we're really focused. There's three elements of our mission that I want to talk to you about. First of all, our focus is on accelerating software development. Now, if you've been here this week, you can't help but be impressed by the rate and pace of change and improvement in the RISC-V ISA. From additional ratifications, to platform definitions, to growth in membership, to certification plans, there's a lot going on. And that is great, and it inspires confidence in the whole community. But it's not enough. So if you were here for the AI panel yesterday afternoon, it was a great setup for this software section because you heard how important software really is. And so our focus for RISE is really to increase the pace, increase the development community, and really not only catch up to what's been happening on the ISA, but to surpass it. So it's one thing to do enablement, but we also have to drive performance and, by extension, software quality. If you heard Edward's talk yesterday from an industry analyst perspective in terms of the exciting numbers of the potential for RISC-V, the underlying implication was, hey, there's a great opportunity here, but we have to ensure that the software can perform and deliver the performance that the hardware is capable of. And that's another area that we've invested in with RISE. I'll give you some very specific examples of what we've helped to do to drive that. So thirdly, we want to amplify the opportunity. And what do I mean by that? Well, first and foremost, RISE does not operate in a vacuum. We really believe in community, in collaboration, in communication. And we have done a lot to reach out to various development environments and programs and communities and inspire people about the RISC-V opportunity. But in addition to that outward focus, we've also expanded the software engagement in a number of the activities within RVI. Hopefully you've seen more software participation in some of the task groups and the SIGs, and really bringing that software perspective to the overall RISC-V community. Now, before I go on, I also want to emphasize one thing that we are not. So RISE is not about branding custom software or doing a custom distribution or ensuring that you have RISE labels on your software. We are really about the open source and partnering with the existing communities that are critical to the technology communities that we work within. Okay, so now let me talk about who we are. So when we launched 13 months ago, we launched with 13 members, all of whom are members of our governing board and all who have representation on our technical steering committee. So what I'm happy to share with you today is we've almost doubled our membership. We've added 10 new members in the past year, and it's been exciting to see those members join in the activities and really contribute from day one. Now, as much as I like to talk about the numbers, and as much as anybody presenting loves to have a great logo set on the slide, that's not really the headline here. The headline is what makes up the membership. So we have early stage companies that have bet their business on RISC-V as members of RISE. We have some of the largest technology companies in the world with a track record of innovation and investing in technology as members. We have companies focused on silicon and IP development, but we also have software companies in the open source and commercial space. And we have tremendous representation geographically around the world. So it's a very impressive collection of key companies in the industry that bring both a depth and a breadth that have helped us to accomplish many of the elements of our mission. Now, there are some requirements to be a member. You have to also be a member of RVI. That's how we partner. You also have to be a member of the Linux Foundation Europe. RISE is a project that is part of Linux Foundation Europe. Each member contributes membership fees, but also the equivalent of 2 full-time engineers to help accomplish our development charter and driving performance and quality within that software world. Now, if you're attending today and your logo isn't up here, please come see us. Please take a look at membership options. We've got information on our website. We would love to continue to expand the membership and the diversity of our organization. So let me talk a little bit about how we operate. So we do have a governing board. Amber Huffman from Google is our chair. Barna Ibrahim from Rivos is our vice chair, and I serve as treasurer. In addition to the governing board, we have our technical steering committee with 3 co-chairs. Kumar, most people know Andrew as Adler, and Nathan, who you're going to hear from here in a little bit. Program management is led by Michelle as part of the Linux Foundation Europe, as part of that partnership. And then we also have a marketing and outreach committee, which is key to delivering on that 3rd element of our mission that I talked about with our outreach to various committees. We meet monthly as a board. Our technical steering committee meets every other week. And we have quarterly sync-ups with the RVI executive team to ensure that we're really coordinating both from a RISE perspective and an RVI standpoint, and continue to collaborate together. So let's talk a little bit more about the technical side and what the TSC helps drive. So when we launched RISE shortly after, we established 9 working groups. You see them listed here, spanning from compiler and tool chains to system libraries to kernel and just OS distros. Our focus, as you can see, is really infrastructure software. That's the place for us to start, to make sure that the core infrastructure is as rock solid and complete as possible. Each of the work groups has an elected chair, and that chair helps drive both the resources within that group as well as the specific development areas. There's some examples I've given you here on this list. It's really just a sampling. Some of the things we've accomplished this year on the kernel side, upstreaming ACPI support, on GCC with auto-vectorization, with LLVM and GCC ZFA support, and so QEMU enhancements. So there's a lot that's gone on. I don't have enough time today to go through that in detail, but I would encourage you to check out our website, because all the work that we do in the working groups is in the open. That includes minutes from the meetings, that includes the project priorities, as well as status on upstream patches and overall priorities. Now, when we started RISE, we knew we wouldn't be able to accomplish everything we wanted to just within the working groups and with the engineers assigned from the members. So we took it a step further and created an environment to directly invest in additional ecosystem development. We have an RFP process that's published on our TSC webpage, and to date, we have funded 7 different projects listed here, and most of these fit that second aspect of our mission around performance and performance optimization, because we haven't necessarily had the skill sets or the bandwidth from the engineers that have been allocated from the members. Now, this has been moved actually quite quickly, given we're still just coming out of our first year formation. But one exciting thing I want to share with you today is, to date, we have committed almost 700,000 euros to help drive this level of development and investment with third-party entities to help contribute to the RISC-V ecosystem that wouldn't have happened without RISE. Now, that's just where we're starting. So I'm also happy to share that with the growth in our membership, we've just approved our budget for the upcoming year, and we'll have almost twice this amount to invest in the coming year in additional projects. So although it's the RISE Governing Board and RISE TSC that oversees those projects, if you have ideas, if you see gaps in the ecosystem, if there's areas of optimization that you think are really key to this community and ecosystem, let us know, because we can evaluate that and see if that's something that we want to and can fund and help oversee as part of this commitment to the community. So in those 9 working groups I showed, I didn't talk much about the last one, and that is our infrastructure development working group. Now, if you're a good software developer, you never have enough hardware to work on. You never have enough compute cycles. There's always more that you could utilize, and we recognized that when we launched RISE. So we have specifically focused on creating a very effective development infrastructure utilizing a Google Cloud platform for both build and simulation. This is up and running. The recipes and details are documented on our wiki. And I also have to do a special shout out to Google here, because Google contributed $250,000 worth of credits to RISE to help drive this environment. And that's money that we could invest in development projects and not have to invest in our underlying infrastructure. So some examples of what we're running in this environment: a number of CI loops from Linux kernel, GCC, OpenJDK. You see on the far right here, the rate of increase of consumption of cycles has been quite significant, and we expect that to continue to grow. We've also worked with Scaleway to provide some of the cloud servers to some of the Java and Go development that has been ongoing to help fund that infrastructure in those projects as well. We do have a roadmap. We review this and work on this in detail quarterly between some of the leads from our governing board as well as TSC. Again, I don't have time to go through this in a lot of detail, but we have a continued set of targets and projects and patches that we're working on. One of the funding areas that we are actually just wrapping up on our bid process is for additional GCC optimizations that we will be funding. And so again, if there are ideas that you have, input that you may want to provide, please let us know. Okay, that third element that I talked about in our charter was our outreach. And we've really been active in working with different communities. So we've helped sponsor both the RVI North America Summit last fall. We're a sponsor here at the EU Summit. We've spoken and presented at a number of our member events: Red Hat Summit, Andy's RISC-V Con. We've been participating in some of the key industry open source events: FOSDEM here in Europe, Linux Foundation Open Source Summit in the US, and we'll be at the European Summit in Vienna that's coming up here fairly shortly, and Linux Plumbers, which is really one of the key industry events for the Linux and kernel development environment. We also have activity on social media with LinkedIn, and maybe the most important contribution here is on this far left, the RISC-V optimization guide. So this is really a best practices guide and document that helps developers learn from the learnings of our toolchain in particular and compiler team to accomplish key optimizations and really ease the process to develop software for RISC-V. So again, if you have an event, whether it's your company, the project you're in, the community you're part of, and want to see RISE participate, please let us know, and we can see if we can support that and hopefully participate there as well. So finally, I would encourage you to meet the RISE team here this week. A number of members are here. As I mentioned, we're a sponsor, so those really comfy white chairs as you walk into the exhibit area, I don't think I've seen them unoccupied at any point throughout the exhibit, so they're being well utilized. I'm also happy to say that Nathan is going to follow me and provide a lot of technical depth on some of the optimization work that's been going on. And later today, you'll hear from CodeThink and the work that they've been doing on Rust optimization, which was part of one of the projects that we funded as well. So great to see all of you here today. I really appreciate the opportunity to present and share what we've been up to, and hopefully get a chance to talk to more of you as the week goes on. Thank you.